Hello everyone. Thought I'd do something a little bit different than what I normally do. So I'm doing a top, well, in this case, top 12. Why top 12? Because I like to keep Doug Walker in my dust. Especially after watching that wall review. Anyways, so now, initially when I was thinking about this video, it was going to be 31 films to correspond with 31 days, of October up until Halloween. But I changed my mind a bit, so I just cut it back. Maybe I'll do another list next year, especially since there's quite a bit of movies in my personal collection that I haven't watched yet, so there could be some things in there that I'm kind of overlooking because I just haven't seen them yet. I got quite a bit of movies to go through. Well, at least 15, I'd say. Maybe not a whole lot, but more than I would like, since normally I don't do blind buys. But I've been doing a lot more the last couple of years for one reason or another. Usually because it has something to do with video nasties. So, alright, anyways, getting on with it. I went through my film collection, grabbed just 12 of them that I think could use a little bit more love in one degree or another. And some of these, if you are, a real horror aficionado, you'll be like, would I really consider that obscure or underrated? I probably wouldn't, but it's in my film collection, and they're films that I would like some people to see a little bit more, because I just don't like that mindset that some people have that older films are bad, or they don't want to see older films. So if there's something like that where it might be considered a bit of a classic, I might throw it in there because I just want people to see it. Like when I did 31, one of the films I would have looked at would have been Freaks. It's something a lot of people heard of. People are familiar with the famous Google Gobble line, but the fact that it's old makes it some people just don't want to see it, and it's sad. Anyways, with that done, let's get on with this, shall we? I guess I'm not doing this in any particular order. Now, this is one of those films where I was talking about where it's not necessarily obscure per se. I just want people to see it because I love this movie so much. This movie is a blast. So, it's a Japanese film, so as far as I know, there's no dub available for this, so you have to go strictly subtitles, the right way to watch a foreign film. But crazy movie, deliberately bad special effects help give it, more of a childlike dream feel. So, like cutouts, some crude animation, among just complete and utter insanity. Now, it's hard to describe this film, but the best and also the worst possible way I can describe this, it's like Evil Dead 2 meets maybe, I don't know, something like a Fully Cooley. I haven't seen the next two seasons, but the original series of Fully Cooley is great. Really weird, funny, and just fun, just like this movie. So yeah, this is the first one. Not the most obscure film on the list. I mean, it is a Criterion after all, but they helped save it from obscurity. Otherwise, not many people probably would have heard this film. So thank you. Thank you to people at Janus Films and Eureka, for giving the British their version of this film with the far inferior cover. Some of those Eureka Master of Cinema things I've seen are just atrocious. Like this counterpart, not good. Repo Man is hideous. Oh, awful. Anyways, moving on. Let's see, what else do I got? Carpenter. Good old John Carpenter. A master of the craft. So, the film I'm looking here is Prince of Darkness. Now, like how it's not necessarily the most unheard of film, but a lot of people consider it to be, not one of his best films, and I kind of have a tendency to overlook it. I like it a lot. My personal opinion, pretty much any movie he made is solid, except, well, that's up until we get to In the Mouth of Madness. Anything he made after that, I just don't like at all. At all. But Prince of Darkness seems to get the shaft for a lot of people. They just don't seem to care for it. It's about, a priest, scientist, and some, like college students. They get together in this church to investigate the weird goings on, if I recall. They run across, like, this massive green slime of, like, pure concentrated evil, and then it gets unleashed and craziness happens. And it has the John Carpenter, Alan Horwitz. Well, Carpenter. Fun score. Not a Goblin, but I still like me some Carpenter music. So, yeah. Prince of Darkness. A rather underlooked Carpenter film, at least in the grand scheme of John Carpenter. I mean, it doesn't get nearly as much love as, like, The Fog, Halloween, The Thing, or his action movies, which are also great, but I'm focusing on horror, so, yeah. This has They Live on it. It's weird. Master of Fear. They Live. An action comedy. Some Arrow video. Now, I'm looking at one film in particular. My favorite film of the set. This is a solid set. All three films are good in their own way. But the one I am going to be highlighting is the third film in this set. Premonition. Or The Premonition. I guess all films are great in this set. Well, it's just this Carnival of Blood is the most fun. Which came from the sea, technically, or at least from a story, might be one of the technically best, if you want to argue, but that's arguable, obviously, but this is my favorite film of the three. I haven't watched the other volume yet, but I watched, one film. So far, it seems like it might be another solid set. So, Arrow and Steven Thorpe, keep it up. Really outdoing yourselves with these sets. Yeah. So it goes around, what do they call it? Parapsychology, and mind reading and manifesting, telekinesis, things like that. A mother a while ago gave up her daughter for adoption. She kind of is regretting that. She's going around trying to find the kid. you know, bring her back to her arms, and weird supernatural things go on, you know. The main, you know, and the family that adopted her, you know, are doing what they can to protect her amid these strange things happening, you know, and there's premonitions, you know, so having an idea of what's going to happen before it happens. Really interesting little movie. I really like this. Of course, me just randomly describing it doesn't do the film justice. But not only check this out, but check out the American Horror Project series in general. So they're really interesting stuff and help highlight some definitely lesser known films. The most known movie in here is Witcher Came from the Sea, and that's really only because of the fact that it was a video nasty. Censorship doesn't work. Alright, now we're getting a bit more into slightly more obscure stuff. This might be just... I can't get enough of this film in particular. I'm doing them in no real order. Now, if you want to get a hold of this film and watch it, you gotta make sure you get the director's cut. This is the Vinegar Syndrome version. If you get it from Troma, you're gonna get the crappy Troma version, which unlike, goes the opposite of how director's cut usually are. Usually, when we see them, they're longer. Here, the director's cut is shorter. There were some things added in the beginning and the end to help make it a bit more marketable, but lessen the impact and totally threw off the twist at the end, because it's given to us in the first few minutes. We know what the character's problem is instead of us having to try to figure it out. Yeah, this woman, looks like she's on the run or something. She goes to a diner, tries to get a job, but the guy that runs the place seems to might not be the best person in the world. Some people seem to go missing and maybe get tossed to the pigs to be fed. But the main character, she's no saint either. She definitely has her own demons and is definitely odd herself. So two very strange people, not the best people, meet up and interesting things happen. Absolutely love this movie. This might be among my favorites in this little list I'm giving you. Highly recommend it. Slower, if you're a gore hound, well, you'll be disappointed. But if you like good, low-budget 70s horror film, great pick. Here's another one, and I just ended up just watching this today. Still like it. Now, if you, this is from 58, so, you know, it still has a bit of the, you know, end of the Hays Code feel going on it, so, you know, it's not really very horrifying. It can be chilling, and the premise, it's very interesting. I like the idea. If you like classic Twilight Zone, then this is definitely something that you might want to check out, you know. The main character, he ends up being like a chairman or director for a local cemetery. And there seems to be something going on with the map. If he puts a black pin in the, you know, in the map, there's pins all over. There are two colors, white and black. The white pins show plots that have been purchased but not filled. The black ones mark a permanent residence of the cemetery. There seems to be some weird events where if a black pin gets put in a plot prematurely, the person who's supposed to be for very quickly deceases. So, fun, eerie, little creepy Twilight Zone-esque movie. Pretty good. I love me my anthology films, and this is one that seems to get overlooked. While it's by no means a masterpiece of this subgenre, this has some fun. And as I've mentioned a few times before, I really like the way this movie progresses. The first segment, it's pretty much straight up horror, like a good fairy tale is. Second one balances the horror and the comedy a little bit more. And then the third one almost totally discards any aspect of horror and just goes for straight black comedy. The next two are very loosely inspired by, Grimm's fairy tales. Red Riding Hood and, well, I don't think Three Bears is actually Grimm's, but it's a fairy tale. You know what I'm saying. And the first segment has some interesting special effects, very Hellraiser-esque, but it's definitely the weakest. Each segment, in my opinion, gets stronger and stronger, and I mainly just like this because of the third and final segment. The Goldilocks one. Very fun. Yeah, getting some straight up comedy here. There's Nothing Out There. This is one of an earlier, like very, very meta horror film, Goes straight for laughs, Main character, he sees everything going around, it's like, oh man, this is like every single horror film I've ever seen. We should be careful, guys. And of course nobody listens to him because, they're not in a horror movie, but they are. I mean, in one instance, they're like literally in a movie. I mean, I don't want to spoil it much, but there's a hilarious bit with the boom mic. That's all I'm going to say. Hardly fits with the rest of the film, except that it's hilarious. Like the rest of the movie. There's this creature going around killing people, and the main characters, they're at I think it's supposed to be for like summer vacation or something like that, and they're all away at this one of the characters' houses. They die, of course, but the main character is like trying to warn people, trying to get them out. It's like, everything we've been seeing is all foreshadowing. We gotta get out of here, we're all gonna die, because this is like a horror film thing. There's there's a moment where there's a cat scare. Like, there's nowhere the cat could have possibly come from, but there it is. A cat just flies out of nowhere. He's trying to figure out where it came from because there's no logical explanation for this random cat except to be a scare. Fun stuff. Yeah. Let's get animated. And we've got another anthology film. David Flurst's Umbilical World. Most of these you can see on YouTube, but there are some shorts that are only available in this set. If you're familiar with David Firth, he's an animator, and most of his work is surreal horror, very disturbing, very dark, and really, really strange. And there's He's most known for Salad Fingers. There's 2 Salad Finger episodes in this set. And there's just enough new material that if you're a veteran of his work, you will get something new, unless you're one of those filthy pirates. Yeah, some more 70s. The Baby. And this is... most of the films I have on here are, not necessarily major films. This is actually a Hollywood production. Although a lot of people would be like, this doesn't seem like Hollywood. This just feels like a 70s exploitation-esque film. The subject matter and the presentation doesn't feel Hollywood. But so this civil worker, she gets this case about a strange little family where it seems like their 20-something-year-old son is in a perpetual state of infanthood. And there's a very disturbing reason for that. Yeah, the main reason I really like this film is I really like the ending of it. I was not expecting it to go the way it did, but it worked really well and was definitely kind of, whew, wow. Great ending. Definitely makes the film. But it doesn't feel like it should be a Hollywood film. It just doesn't have that feeling. And that makes it even more of an oddity in that aspect. The film itself isn't really weird, like it's not a Lynch movie or anything, but there's definitely an offbeatness to it. And the fact that this is a Hollywood production just makes it weirder. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Did I miscount? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Looks like I miscounted. I have 13. I'll just go with it. It makes sense. This is 13 films that I think need more loving. And noses that need more itching. That's my thing. Itching my nose. Constantly. Going on for almost half hour. Alright. Possession. A strange little film. Not only in story, but the fact that this is a video nasty. But it also has the distinction of having won awards at the Cannes Film Festival. Most people, they don't think video nasty and the Cannes Film Festival, but this is definitely a more artsy film. There are some violence, some sexuality, but it's not very explicit. It's done tastefully for the most part. In the film, it's about a family breaking up, a relationship eroding, and the mental toll that it's taking on them, with some weird supernatural elements to really help hammer in any of the metaphors and going on, and some creature effects, made by the guy that gave us things such as, Little E.T. he worked on here, and There's another one. I think he might have worked on, not Extra. Maybe it was Extra. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, some good creature effects, some violence, not as much as you might expect from Video Nasty, although some of them are never really violent to begin with. But yeah, if you want something thoughtful, slower, some crazy performances that really amplify the mental strain that the characters are having, this is an amazing film. Blown away by this. And this cover, if I were to ever get a chance of monetization, this would probably help block any chance of monetization. Oh well. Excellent film. It was definitely worth getting this particular set. I think it's sold out now. You might be able to maybe get a copy or two from Diablo DVD yet. Alright, got some Brian De Palma right here. Phantom of the Paradise. This is essentially a combination of mostly Phantom of the Opera, as you may have gathered from the title, and Faust, which might be a little bit more of an influence, but the two are definitely there. You know, a musician. Now he's almost killed, and he's trying to make it big in this record studio. The head of it, he likes his stuff, but he doesn't want him. So, you know, he gets set up, he almost gets killed, but then eventually he does end up working for the record, making other music for other people, and things start to go downhill from there. Excellent music in this film. It's definitely one of the highlights. I really like the music. It just has this fun, this energy to it. It's just, oh, it's great. It's really fast, upbeat, dark. It has this infectious energy that just is amplified by the varying degrees of all the different genres of music that they do, from like surf rock to, you know, like earlier like metal, like Cooper type stuff. Great flick. And I am saving the most obscure for last. Irrational Fear. A small independent film made right here in my grand home state of Wisconsin. From Slasher Studios. This is their third feature-length film, and it has elements of slasher, but it definitely doesn't feel like one. I mean, it has a body count, but it doesn't feel like a slasher at all. At least, especially compared to their first two of, you know, Dismembering Christmas and Don't Go to the Reunion. But this one, group of people, they go to a little, like, area, you know, to try to confront their fears. But they get a little bit more than they bargained for, as their fears are actually starting to manifest and going after them. I was very impressed when I saw this at a local, horror film festival, and this was one of the ones they showed. Definitely one of the highlights. Very, really good film. I was not expecting to be as impressed with this movie as I was. I gave you the summary. The story is simple enough, but it's executed that it makes it seem more than what it is. And let's see if I can get this to be uploaded, because it's over half hour now. See what happens. Maybe this will get split up into 2 parts. So yeah, final selection for this year. Definitely worth checking out. Just like all these movies. Yeah, that's about it for this one. Check me out on mine, Spitshoe, Stardust, links in the description below. Like, dislike, subscribe, unsubscribe, hit that bell icon, unhit that bell icon, do whatever you want. I'm not going to stop you. Engagement is engagement, and I appreciate all of it. Well, that's about it for this one. Take care, everyone. See you next time, and God bless.